from the Bakersfield, California. This is the Renegade Report.
Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to this edition of the Renegade Report with the last of the Bowser Boys, first of the Garter Gang, and a former general in Chudy's Army. I am Kenny Calvin. And in this week's edition, we won't even go through all the rigmarole about recaps. We're getting straight to the meat of the presentation with Coach Tim Painton of BC Baseball. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, Kenny. Thanks for having me.
Well, hey, like I told you, I know how busy you guys are. I appreciate every minute I get to have with you guys. I hate interrupting you guys. And from a former coach's perspective, I know how valuable your time is. So thank you, Coach.
Well, thank you.
So let's get right to it. Like I said, fantastic year, coming from a guy that, came in 3 years ago as a media guy, watched you guys struggle a bit to finish games and close things out in the 2017 season. It feels so phenomenal to see you guys get the conference championship and take care of that before we get into postseason play. How's that feel, Coach?
Oh, it feels great. You know what? I'm very proud of our players. We've done a great job of playing 40 games. And baseball is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And we've had some ups and downs, but we've won 17 out of our last 20. And
wow.
Been on a roll, so hopefully we close that out with a win tomorrow.
Well, Coach, in the words of my late friend Nipsey Hussle, the marathon continues. you guys continue to exceed expectations. Coming into a season where we play in one of the toughest conferences in the country. You guys have held your own, and it just feels great to see the continued development of the players that you have that have come back to be part of the fold, and some of the new players that you've had. So let's talk about that experience from the returner's perspective. How's it feel to have that confidence in the leadership of your returners?
Well, that's outstanding. Your strength of your ball club is usually in experience, and that's who you have returning are the freshman kids each year, and you hope that they grow. You hope that they continue to develop, and they're better players as sophomores than they were as freshmen, and that has happened. Cameron Willman has had a phenomenal year for us. Shanti Ross has stolen 31 bases.
Wow.
Gosh, you could go on and on with our sophomores. They've just done an outstanding job, and we've had a very good group of freshmen come in to complement the sophomores. So it's been a fun year.
Fun year, especially for me, being that, I don't get to make it to as many games as I want, but the fun that I get to have and that I touched on in the green room is the fact that when I'm working on stats before the show, luckily I didn't have to do it tonight because it's a lot of work, and just going through and looking at the baseball numbers from a batting perspective, on-base percentage, slug percentage for some of the guys, how well Harmon and Zach Williams performed this year, as well as Cam and the other guys that are out in the lobby. It just feels great to know that we have more than just 2 or 3 players that we can depend on any night.
Well, absolutely. Our lineup has been strong 1 through 9. Our pitching has been outstanding. Alejandro Murillo, freshman from Stockdale, has 9 wins on a season.
9-1.
Yeah, and
wow.
That's crazy. That's tough to do at this level.
Absolutely.
And he's really stepped up. Nate Ortiz and Lane Cowan have returned and pitched well. Our bullpen has been phenomenal for us. And so you add all the pieces together, it's a pretty special group.
Yeah, definitely a special group, and flashing back to that 2017 season, one of the toughest things that we had going for us was just not enough depth in the bullpen, and seeing guys be out there, struggle to finish. Now you don't have that problem because you have the luxury of other guys you can depend on. Last year, Nate was our guy.
Yep.
Had a fantastic season. And you expect him to continue to carry on, which he did. He had a great year as well. But then you get a surprise in Murillo coming in, and he ends up being your most dependable from a wins and loss standpoint. 73 innings pitched, giving up 67 hits, like 5 hits a game. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, he's had a great year.
Absolutely. So Coach, I'm excited for you guys, and thinking about that excitement of the transition for the sophomores, talking about how proud I was seeing those letters of intent come in and seeing those being highlighted on the Bakersfield College athletics page, talking about where some of the guys are getting to go. as they transition to their next career, and their career is still going here. So how's that feel?
That's pretty special. That's really what our program is about, giving kids the opportunity to compete for us and have the opportunity to move on. And probably the proudest I am of our program is we've been able to move 200 Kern County kids on in my time here, and now we're at 8 in this class, and there's still 3 or 4 more that have options available to them. So all of our sophomores will have that opportunity if they choose to do so.
Well, Coach, you beat me to the punch. I was just about to talk about the number of players you've sent on. A few major leaguers, about 10. I had a chance to interview Colby.
Yeah.
This earlier this season. That was a dream interview. I want to say he may, outside of you, be my most distinguished guest, since I've started this experience, and nothing like that kind of pressure on me as a reporter to make sure I bring it as well, because these guys talk for a living, and get paid to come and show up, and he did that out of the kindness of his heart based on what you meant to him as a player. And I got to tell you this, Coach, because you weren't here that day, we shed some tears that day, and just reflecting on what you meant to his development and how special you were as a person, not only as a coach.
Right.
And we sat here and shed a couple tears just thinking about how special it was to have an opportunity to be a Bakersfield kid. You grow up on, I think he said he grew up in the Green Frog area up off College, in Bernard, and I'm thinking that he was just this Oildale kid that went to North High, and he's like, no, I grew up, I went up to school on Bernard, and they bused me to North High, and then that's what gave me the opportunity to compete at North High before coming here. So I felt like a well-rounded man as I came to campus, and we reflected on just how special Bakersfield College is as a whole for him as a professional, and now a professional Major League Baseball executive.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure the next time I saw you that I had a chance to share that with you, because you never know what impact you have on guys until years later.
Right.
And to feel the vibration from Kobe's voice as he talked about what you meant to him, it brought me to tears, because all I could do was reflect on all the coaches in my past that helped me be the kind of person that I needed to be to get to the next level, and how so many players forget that. And you think that some players like him would just go on, you've accomplished so many things, you forget where you come from, and that's not the case. And I definitely wanted to share that with you,
Well,
Coach.
thank you very much. Colby's a special human being. He's a Bakersfield guy. He has come home every offseason, lives here, raises his family here, and Bakersfield is important to him, and very special person.
Absolutely. So, Coach, just thinking about impact that you have on your older players, let's transition to the younger players. You talked about Mario and how special he's been coming from Stockdale High School. Who are some of the other freshmen that have had an impact? I know we don't like to single guys out, but just talking about some of the freshmen who've had an impact on this year.
It's been Hunter Adams. The second half of the season has performed very well for us. He's an infielder out of Independence High School.
Nice.
Landon Kauk is somebody who has swung the bat very well for us. He's a freshman out of Highland. Matt Patton he's played a number of positions, actually, and his second half has been as good as anybody's, and he's a freshman out of Liberty. So not to exclude anybody, but certainly Alejandro Murillo, we touched on him. Chris Rodriguez, freshman pitcher out of Ridgeview. Benji Caggianelli, another freshman out of Ridgeview. Our freshmen have contributed immensely to our success.
Absolutely, and that just builds for a brighter future for us.
Absolutely.
So Coach, I got to let you know, we do so much from a leadership standpoint that you don't get the time to reflect because you're so busy as coaches. But this is one of the beautiful moments about having the Renegade Report. It gives you an opportunity to step away from the field, step away from the classroom, and just reflect on the work that you've done with these young men before they transition on. Because we got about 30 days left in some of their careers, and they're moving forward, and you're going to be right back busy again to where you can't even reflect on what you just did for them. So having the time to share this with you, Coach, I appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you very much, Kenny.
I know how much it means to me to see it happen for you, let alone how special it feels for you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Got you. So let's talk postseason. We're right now we're tied for conference.
No, we've got a one-game lead.
One game lead on conference, and that's why I wanted to touch on that because I wanted to make sure I had that right. 1 game lead on conference. LA Mission plays tomorrow.
LA Mission plays LA Valley today.
Okay.
We happen to have a bye today, so we close out the season tomorrow with LA Pierce.
Yeah, absolutely. So in closing out the season with LA Pierce, win or lose, we still have that shared conference title or outright.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely. So, Coach, I just got to thank you wholeheartedly for continuing to develop men, you know, as well as baseball players. You know, our last interview, you shared some things and memories about me that I didn't even know you remembered, you know, which made my day. I'm like, dang, Coach, remember that? That's cool. You know, but one thing I got to leave you with before we go to break, Coach, never underestimate the impact you have on these young men.
Yes.
You know, I know we get so busy, but never underestimate that impact.
Well, this game is about relationships, and athletics is about relationships. And so those relationships go on long after the players leave, and that's the important part of this job.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I'll be there Friday to cheer you on, man, and hopefully we're at home, right?
We'll be at home.
Absolutely. You know, I hope I don't get a call to work the game so I can actually watch it. All right. Well, Coach, cheers to everything that you've accomplished, to be part of the process and to be a fly on the wall and watch you develop team after team to this pinnacle after missing it by such a thin margin. Yeah. Salute to you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
All right. We are the champions, my friend. Hey, this is Kenny Calvin. We'll be right back after the break with BC heavy hitters Cameron Willman and Alejandro Murillo right after this.
Thank you.